The following is furnished by Bynum and Gillen.
All rise.
Bynum and Gillen Law Firm, a better solution starts here.
Welcome to Law Talk SA. You have legal questions? Call now. 210-308-8867. This live program is now in session.
You may be seated.
And now from the law firm of Bynum and Gillen, your hosts Doug Bynum and James Gillen. This is Law Talk SA.
Good afternoon, San Antonio. This is James Gillen. I'm your host. Doug Bynum's not with us today, but we do have David Rodriguez, and we may have Ricardo Julio coming in shortly. He's another one of our associates at the law firm. If you're a new listener to Law Talk SA, we are live in the studio from 5 to 6 every Sunday. We're here to answer your questions. So if you have a legal question, whether it's over the topic that we're discussing today or not, give us a call. We're live in the studio. You can reach us at 308-8867. That's 308-8867. Or you can call toll free at 866-308-8867. How you doing today, David?
I'm doing all right. James, hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. I ate too much, getting fatter as we speak.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I think we finally finished up the turkey today. But yeah, it was very good. It's always nice to have Thanksgiving with the family, and we do have a guest today in the studio with us that's going to be talking about, since it is the time of Thanksgiving, and his name is Howie Nestle. How you doing, Howie?
Just fine, thank you. I like that new that new jingle of yours. That's the first time I've heard it.
Is it the first time you heard it? Yeah. Well, it's really nice. We got some commercials that are coming out of it. We're really proud of it. I think we worked really hard on it, so I think it came out really well.
Yeah, well, James, David, thank you guys for having me on today.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you. And in fact, you're here today. Basically, you've been doing an annual collection drive, if that's what I understand. This is like your 19th year doing it.
Correct. 19th year doing a collection drive called Got You Covered, benefiting local charities.
Wow. And who exactly do you benefit?
In the early days, we included SAM Ministries, New Jerusalem Baptist Ministries, and others. For the last 6 years, we've collected donations for Food Bank, Haven for Hope, and Battered Women and Children's Shelter, which is also known as Family Violence Prevention Services.
Now, you say you're collecting, if we have listeners out there who would like to contribute, what kind of items are you looking for?
It's a very easy collection drive. So next Sunday, which will be the 6th of December, at Park North Shopping Center at the corner of Blanco and Loop 410, kind of behind the Frost Bank and the Aloft Hotel, we'll be collecting donations of blankets, coats, clothing, shoes, diapers, soap, non-perishable food items. From 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., we'll leave and unload them from your car. Each of the charities I mentioned earlier will be there to give you a receipt if you'd like one, so you can write it off as a donation. And we will simply unload your donations, put it in the appropriate truck, and then by that afternoon, 4 o'clock, we will deliver it to each of the 3 charities.
Wow, that's fantastic. I know that, and if you want more information, I think we're going to put a link on our website, lawtalksa.com, as well as bynumgillen.com. You can go to that. You also have a website that they can go to as well, don't you, Howard?
Correct. It's gotchacovered.org, Gotcha covered.org.
That's fantastic. And you said you've been doing this for 19 years.
For 19 years, it started with a friend of mine and I downtown San Antonio. I'd walk by this homeless gentleman every day where I'd park my car to go to work. I would engage in conversation with him from time to time. One day, a buddy of mine actually took him to lunch. He invited us back to his shelter for a little fundraiser they were doing. And lo and behold, when we showed up, we were the only 2 there. There were more residents than attendees of the collection of their little event. And so I thought, you know what, we can do better, and that's how the collection drive started.
Wow. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about other other things other than just the collection drive. But we definitely want to anybody out there who wants to contribute to this. I know I'm getting everybody in my office to gather stuff so that I will take it over to you next Sunday, and we're having everybody. So if you're out there and you're listening, and maybe you can get everybody together in your office, and one person can take it over to Howie, that would be great.
Yeah, that'd be great. I always tell people, and I've been telling donors that are very generous in this city for 19 years, this is one of the best, most direct ways of giving. You bring all of your donations, new and used items, and we will make sure we get them directly to those charities on that same day, and by Monday, they will be distributing them and using them. The people that need them most will be using them that Monday.
That's fantastic. And today we're going to be talking about wills a little bit. We're going to actually go into something that is, it's really a component of the will. Would you say, David?
Yes, it is.
So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about testamentary trust, which is a little bit different than what most people think of trust. Most people think of a trust as something that, one, you can do for asset protection, or two, it's just basically avoiding tax consequences when you pass away. Testamentary trusts are a little bit different. They're made really for people that may not have a huge amount of assets right now as they're living, but maybe they have a good insurance proceeds. So we're going to go into that, and that's going to be a very interesting. I know in my practice, I usually have a lot of clients who are younger and who do not have wills, who I always say everybody should have a will, but they don't really understand that you can create this testamentary trust, which is really a component that the Texas allows us to do, and it gives us really a lot of flexibility to help kind of govern things when you pass away.
That's exactly right, James, and it's a little bit different than an inter vivos trust, which you can create while you're alive. The testamentary trust is created through the will, so when you pass away is when it goes into effect.
That's right. And so if you have any questions out there, maybe you have a question about a will, maybe you have a question about some other legal topic, you can certainly give us a call. We're Law Talk SA. We're on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. And you can reach us live in the studio, 308-8867. Maybe you have a question for Howie about this Got You Covered 2015 drive, and maybe you want to know some more information about that. We're certainly going to talk to Howie as we go through the hour and get more information from him, because he's a source of information about this. And obviously this is something that's quite frankly been going on for a long time, and it's really built into what I would consider a major movement for San Antonio, and really giving people, because sometimes when you give something to maybe an organization, you don't really know if they're going to use it, or you don't know if it's going to get to the people that really need it. And as Howie just said, he kind of makes sure that this stuff gets to where it's really used.
That's exactly right, James. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, a lot of times we find ourselves donating to organizations and stuff like that, and we don't know what the end product is. But with the Got You Covered event next Sunday, I mean, as Howie said, they'll be wearing this clothes by Monday afternoon.
Exactly. I mean, and that it doesn't get any better than that. One of the things that you were talking about when we first got on, this is Thanksgiving, and I think next week we're going to talk a little bit about a subject, and I just want to give a prelude to that. We're going to talk a little bit about, since it is the time where there's a lot of office parties, there's a lot of people having parties that are going on. I know that I've gotten numerous invitations to various parties, and unfortunately sometimes we drink a little too much, and so hopefully next week we're going to talk about DWIs, which isn't really a pleasant conversation sometimes, but it is something that does happen, and it doesn't mean that it can't happen to you. Sometimes you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you get pulled over, and next thing you know, you're being arrested for something that can really affect not only your personal life, but it can affect your business and your professiontal.
Also your family. I mean, the list goes on how your life can change if you get a DWI. I mean, just the amount of money you're spending for attorneys, court costs, all those sorts of things. I mean, it's a good
Oh yeah, and then they get you through the penalties of it, and then sometimes you have to put equipment on your cars, and it really, I always say you need to have an attorney in any kind of legal situation. but that's one that you really do need to have an attorney. And I think you get what you pay for. And we're going to bring some people in to talk about that. And if you do find yourself in that situation, certainly give us a call at Bynum & Gillen. We're more than happy to help you through the process. And like I said, we're going to bring some people in next week, so we're kind of excited about that. But getting back to today's topic, we're going to be talking a little bit, and again, we're going to be talking about testamentary trust, which is really a component to the wills. And we have talked about, in the past, we talked about wills. And if you have any questions about wills, you can certainly go on to our website, lawtalksa.com, and look at podcasts, because we keep all of our podcasts in there. We have previous top 10 lists that you can look at, and we've done topics on wills. You can also go to bynumandgillen.com, which is our website, and you can see about wills and stuff of that nature as well. So I'm kind of excited about that. So coming back, when we come back from the next segment, we're going to be going over our top 10 list. We're going to talk some more to Howie. You're going to be able to stay around?
Yes, sir. I'm here for the duration if you need me.
Well, fantastic. And we would really like to hear from people out there. So if you have any questions, you can certainly give us a call at 308-8867. That's 308-8867. And we're going to go over our top 10 list. We're going to start that when we come back. And, hopefully we can kind of get this thing rolling. What do you say, David?
No, it sounds good.
All right. And Howie, we'll be coming back, and we'll be talking to you some more about the Got You Covered 2015 drive. And we're going to go over some, think of the items that people can bring in, so we can kind of tell our listeners about that.
Perfect.
Count on the law offices of Bynum & Gillen with one of their experienced family lawyers to guide you through the maze of paperwork, court hearings, and negotiations involved in resolving these matters. Schedule an appointment with them for a free consultation by calling them at 210-541-6800. The attorneys at Bynum & Gillen understand how difficult divorce issues are for you, and they are here to provide you with wise legal counsel. Whether you're considering a divorce, negotiating child support and custody, or facing criminal charges, their attorneys work to protect your rights. Request a free initial consultation for information and advice on how to proceed with your legal concern. Bynum & Gillen handles a wide variety of family law cases, including divorce, custody, child support collection, enforcement and modification of child support, and visitation. Call Bynum & Gillen to make an appointment for a free consultation. 210-541-6800. 210-541-6800. The law offices of Bynum & Gillen.
Welcome back. You're listening to Law Talk SA. My name is James Gillen. I've got David Rodriguez, one of our associates, with us today. Doug Bynum's not with us today, but we are definitely wishing him well out there. He's probably out on the ranch.
Yeah, he's probably out deer hunting.
And they got really cold, and it was kind of damp, and and that's the kind of weather he told me he really likes.
Oh, yeah.
He's probably in his element right now. I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving out there. I know I did. David was talking earlier. He had one, I hope, didn't you, David?
Yeah, everything went well.
And we today in our studio, we are live in the studio. So if you have any questions, we're going to be going over a top 10 list, but you can certainly give us a call about any legal topic. And you can reach us at 308-8867. That's 308-8867. Today we're going to be talking about a component of a will, which is a testamentary trust, which is a kind of a unique thing that we can do in Texas that can help protect people. And we're going to go start our top 10 in a few minutes. But we have in the studio with us today, we have Howie Nestle, and he is up here today promoting a really great collection of goods, and it's called 2015 Gotcha Covered. He's been doing this for 19 years. Is that right, Howie?
19 years collecting charity donations for local charities like Haven for Hope, Food Bank, and Battered Women and Children's Shelter.
And what kind of items for our listeners out there do you really need?
Well, I would say anything you use at home to get ready for the day, the people staying at these shelters need, including non-perishable food items that will go for the food bank. So if you brush your teeth at home, we need toothbrushes, we need toothpaste, we need shampoo, we need soap. I always, even though I encourage people to bring all the clothing that no longer fits them, obviously used clothing, I also encourage people to go buy new packages of socks and underwear. most needed items for men, women, and children. There are a lot of people staying at family violence prevention services, and most of the women that are staying there leave with the clothes on their back and, you know, carrying kids in tow, and so they leave without anything, sometimes in an emergency situation, so they end up at the shelter, and so, you know, they just need fresh clothes, undergarments, and toiletries.
And given San Antonio, we have such a fluctuation of temperatures. I mean, a few days ago it was 80 degrees. Now it's in the 40s. And if you left when it was 80 degrees, maybe leaving with shorts, and now you need pants and long sleeve shirts and coats and stuff of that nature.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, 2 nights before Thanksgiving, in kind of preparation for Thanksgiving, I like to do some direct nonprofit work, and I went to Haven for Hope, and I went with some friends of ours that own a few McDonald's franchises here in town, and they brought with them 500 blankets to give out, and we were out at the courtyard at Haven for Hope and passing out cookies and hot coffee and hot chocolate and blankets, and it was 80 degrees. But
the next day
it got cold. So,
it got cold, so
yeah.
it works out, and that's the way it is in San Antonio. I mean, it can be 80 degrees one day, next day you can be, putting on your parka, because I know I cannot take the cold weather, even when it's in 40 degrees. I'm not a cold weather person. So, definitely and how can they reach you if they need to talk to you or they want to?
Well, all the contact information for the collection drive, including the location, is on our website, which is gotchacovered.org. You can also look for Gotcha Covered Collection Drive on Facebook and get all the information there. But it's quite simply a 19-year-old collection drive that benefits Haven for Hope, Battered Women and Children's Shelter, and the Food Bank. And it'll be held on Sunday, December the 6th at Park North Shopping Center, which is at the corner of Blanco and Loop 410, behind the Frost Bank and Aloft Hotel, kind of behind Jim's. And people drive there with their donations in bags and boxes between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. and we'll unload them for them and take them directly to the charities that afternoon.
Fantastic. Well, I encourage anybody out there to gather your clothes, gather anything that Howie had mentioned as far as toothpaste, canned goods. All the stuff is going to be distributed. It's going to get to the people the next day. They are going to be actually using it the next day. So any items you have, it is this time of year where you should be thinking about giving to others, and we would encourage everybody to do that. We're going to go on into our top 10 now, and Howie, you're going to stay around for the next segment, correct?
I'm here.
All right. And David, we're going to be talking about testamentary trust. And like every week, we go into what we like to call our top 10 things. And it's basically things that either we as attorneys get questioned a lot about, or it's things that we have learned through the years are really important, or people have commented about. And so we came up with 10 things today, and these are things that, quite frankly, I talk to my clients about, and so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's go with the first thing.
All right, James. Well, number one on our top 10 list is, what is a testamentary trust?
Well, that's a good question, because a lot of times people look at me when I say, hey, we're thinking about a will, and these topics usually come up for us right after a child custody issue or right after a divorce, because people need to get their wills redone in those situations. And so I usually, especially with my clients who have children, I start talking about testamentary trust. And so what a testamentary trust is it's actually a trust that you write into the will. It's not created at that moment, but it is in there to serve a purpose should you pass away. So it is a trust that is written into your will.
Okay, and so does every will have a testamentary trust, or?
No, not every will has a testamentary trust. In fact, there's sometimes where people don't need a testamentary trust. And again, probably the most likely people that I serve that have this is usually people who have young children, people who have assets that they want to make sure they go to a particular person. And typically those people are usually under a certain age. Whatever that age may be for that person. But so no, they don't have to be in every will, and they're not in every will.
Okay, so maybe if you have kids or even grandkids, it'd be good to, maybe that's something you want to consider including a testamentary trust into your will.
Absolutely, because again, a trust allows you, in this case, from the grave to basically control the assets that you're giving to that individual, and to put that into trust for somebody to control those assets, as opposed to just giving them outright, which sometimes, you give a lot of money to a young person, they may blow it, they may not do what's right for it, and so this gives you a little bit more control.
Okay, so I guess we'll jump into number 2. We kind of touch on it a little bit, but I mean, who are testamentary trusts created for?
Well, I mean, and you're right, we touched on it a little bit, but I think they're created for people who really, they may not have, for instance, you may have young children, you may have grandchildren, you may have life insurance policies, and in the event that, for instance, if you're married, most of the time your life insurance policy goes to your spouse. But today we're a very mobile society. It could be a possibility where you could both be killed in a car crash. You could both not be around. And so in the event that your spouse is not there to take care, or you could be a single parent. And you may, I have people all the time who tell me, well, that are getting a divorce. I say, you have life insurance policies? And they go, yeah, I do. And I said, well, who now that you're divorced, who's going to take care of who you're putting as the beneficiary for that life insurance policy? And they'll say sometimes, typical, the most answer is, it's my parents, it's my brother, my sister. And, and that's when I usually start talking to them about a testamentary trust. And I say, look, you probably should have this going into a trust. You can put it into a testamentary trust in your will. And that way you can dictate how those proceeds are done. And that person has a little bit more responsibility to do with those funds. Because if you give it to your parents or you give it to your brother and sister and they may have all the best intentions in the world, but I usually use the example of they may get those proceeds and now they're going, well, now we've got my brother's children with me. We need to get a bigger car. Well, we just got all this life insurance. The life insurance is paid to them, by the way. And now they can spend that to go get a bigger car, which is useful for your kids, but that's probably not what you wanted the money to go to.
That's exactly right, James. And aside from minor children, I mean, the testamentary trust would be good if you have a child who may be disabled and who may need care after they're 18 or
Absolutely. And that's where, as you get older, that's when they can be warranted. If you have a child with disabilities or a child that may need to have special care, and you know that they can't themselves take care of that money, you definitely need to think about having a testamentary trust.
Right. And again, also, and again, this is another thing we touched on, so we'll go into number 3, but how is this testamentary trust created?
Well, again, it's created in the will, and the nice thing about it is, and you touched about this in the beginning of the segment about an intra vivos trust, which is basically a trust that you create today. Well, in those trusts, you have to fund them to create them. In this case, it allows you to create a trust that can be sitting there and kind of laying in wait. It's not created until you pass away. But you need to have it in your will, and so once you have it in your will and you pass away, then the trust is actually activated once you die. And
so, who picks the trustee? Is that someone you appoint when you're creating it?
Well, just like when you're creating a will and you create an executor, or an executrix, somebody who's going to basically govern the terms of your will and make sure that your will is followed. You do the same thing at the same time. If you were creating an intra vivos trust, you would have to appoint a trustee. It could be yourself. In this case, you would appoint somebody to serve as the trustee that would act and follow the terms of the trust when you die.
Okay, so and this is a testamentary trust is created in the will. I know a lot of us, we know what wills are, but not everyone knows what a testamentary trust is. So if you have any questions, give us a call and we'll answer your questions live on air at 308-8867. Or you can go to our website, which is lawtalksa.com, and you can submit your questions there, and we'll try and get to them.
Absolutely. What's the next question, David?
Okay, we're down to number 4, which is when is a testamentary trust created?
Well, the testamentary trust is created with the will, and it actually comes into play once you die, and so that's typically when that happens. Now, what is the next question talks about how does the testamentary trust, how long does it last?
Well, the testamentary trust, it lasts until it expires, based on the terms of the trust. It could be 1 year, 2 years. It depends on how old, if you say until my children turn 25, if when you pass away, if they're 20, then it'd be 5 years. But, if they're 5 years old, then it could go on for 20 years. So it really depends on the circumstances.
So really, you have a lot of control over that, and you have a lot of control over the terms of the trust. You can appoint who you want to be the trustee. You can put the terms in there, how long it's going to last, when it's going to be distributed, how it's going to be distributed. So you have all this control really from the grave, and you can think about this forethought. And so, that's why it's so powerful to have these things, especially if you have a life insurance policy and you want to make sure that those proceeds are used, one, for their schooling, two, that they're not going out there at 18 years old and buying the best, $80,000 Audi or something of that nature.
That's exactly right.
And it gives you a lot of control over that. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the top 10. We're going to finish that out. We got Howie Nestle. We're going to talk more about the Got You Covered campaign, which is a fantastic collection drive that's going to take place next Sunday. And we're encouraging all of our listeners out there to go to that. You can reach us live here in the studio. So if you do have a question, you can call us at 308-8867. I'm James Gillen. This is Law Talk SA that you're listening to. We're on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. We're on every Sunday from 5 to 6. So we...
With SRN News, I'm Gordon Griffin. The Eiffel Tower is lit up in green, and environmentally conscious messages are being projected on the monument as Paris prepares to host critical talks on reducing global warming. Poland's prime minister says that she's against any new quota of migrants that the EU might set for its member countries to share. She spoke to reporters Sunday following an EU-Turkey summit that focused largely on their response to an influx of migrants through Syrian neighbor Turkey into the 28-member European bloc. Colorado Springs police say that they are sealing the warrants related to the case against 57-year-old Robert Deere. He's the suspect in the Planned Parenthood shootings. Police say they will not disclose why the gunman opened fire at the clinic, killing 3 people. Mostly clear weather and largely efficient airport operations are helping millions of travelers return to their homes after the Thanksgiving holiday. More details at srnnews.com.
Tune in Sunday mornings at 9 for the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Join us each Sunday morning when we discuss the principles and practices of the successful real estate investor. We bring you experts to answer your questions on how to use real estate to build wealth and passive realized monthly income, and teach you the ins and outs of investing in real estate. So tune in Sunday mornings at 9, right here for the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
On 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Retirement from your career is the closing of a successful chapter in your life. Why not let retirement living be the beginning of your next exciting chapter? Seniors from all over San Antonio are discovering their new beginning at Blue Skies of Texas, the carefree, worry-free, amenity-rich community where friends are made, fun is had, and life is lived. Blue Skies of Texas isn't new. They've been here for 50 years serving the retired military officer as Air Force Village. Their name has changed to Blue Skies of Texas, and they're now open to all great Americans, with or without a military service background. So come join the fun. You've worked hard in your career. Now treat yourself to the lifestyle you deserve. Call 800-483-2159 for your personal tour, or visit blueskiesoftexas.org. That's 800-483-2159. Or for more information, log on to blueskiesoftexas.org.
I Run Texas, a San Antonio-based running specialty store, is here to help you achieve your fitness goals with a great selection of shoes, apparel, and accessories from Asics, Brooks, Hoka, Newton, Saucony, Spinco, TomTom, and more. I Run Texas offers training classes for walkers and runners, too. I Run Texas, with locations in Stone Oak, Bitters, and 1604, and now their newest location in the Dominion Ridge Shopping Center on I-10 West, conveniently located just 3 minutes north of 1604. Be sure to like them on Facebook and visit iruntexas.net. I Run Texas, your running partner from start to finish.
Count on the law offices of Bynum and Gillen with one of their experienced family lawyers to guide you through the maze of paperwork, court hearings, and negotiations involved in resolving these matters. Schedule an appointment with them for a free consultation by calling them at 210-541-6800. The attorneys at Bynum and Gillen understand how difficult divorce issues are for you, and they are here to provide you with wise legal counsel. Whether you're considering a divorce, negotiating child support and custody, or facing criminal charges, their attorneys work to protect your rights. Request a free initial consultation for information and advice on how to proceed with your legal concern. Bynum and Gillen handles a wide variety of family law cases, including divorce, custody, child support collection, enforcement and modification of child support, and visitation. Call Bynum and Gillen to make an appointment for a free consultation. 210-541-6800. 210-541-6800. The law offices of Bynum and Gillen.
Bynum and Gillen Law Firm, a better solution starts here. Your attorney's working hard for you. Divorce, family law, and so much more. We'll do our best to make the process easy too. With help and advice, that's what we're here for. Call 541-6800. Bynum and Gillen Law Firm, a better solution starts here.
Welcome back, San Antonio. I'm James Gillen. I'm in the studio with one of my associates, David Rodriguez. And we got a special guest today. We got Howie Nestle. He's here promoting the Gotcha Covered. It's the 19th annual collection drive. It's going to take place next Sunday. How you doing, Howie?
Very good, James. Happy to be here with you guys on this Sunday.
Yeah, well, we're more than happy to have you here because, we've been talking about this the last few segments, but just to give our listeners, maybe somebody who just tuned in, some idea about this. This is the 19th annual year that you've done a collection drive. Tell them a little bit about what you're going to be collecting.
Every year we collect donations, much needed donations, like blankets, coats, clothing, shoes, diapers, soap, cleaning supplies, shampoo, toothpaste, non-perishable food items, tuna fish, peanut butter, canned meats, that kind of stuff. And on Sunday, December the 6th, we'll collect all of these items at Park North Shopping Center at the corner of Blanco and Loop 410 from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we will take all of those donations and give them to Haven for Hope, Food Bank, and Battered Women and Children's Shelter, also known as Family Violence Prevention Services. And we'll take them to them that very afternoon so they can start using them on that Monday.
Right, and these are going to go, and so when you give these clothes or you give these items to Howie next Sunday, people are going to be using these the following day.
Correct. Yeah, one of the agreements that I have, if you will, with the nonprofits that we donate these items to is that they don't resell them. They have a big need for them. And for those of you listeners that are concerned about whether or not this is a tax deductible donation, it absolutely is. Each of the charities, Haven for Hope, Food Bank, and Battered Women and Children's Shelter, will be represented that day from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and they'll be happy to write you a receipt for the value of your donation so you can write it off on your taxes. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
How you said you started this on your own, I guess 19 years ago, and then now it's blown up quite a bit. It's a pretty large event. I'm looking at your card here, and I see you got some sponsors. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, well, Park North Shopping Center is our venue sponsor, so that's where we've been doing it the last 2 years. And we've kind of bounced around San Antonio. Ironically enough, that's where we started when it was Central Park Mall back in the day. And then when they started remodeling it, well, actually they demolished it and rebuilt it. We moved on down the road, and we've been holding it in different places around the city. And we ended up back where we started.
Wow. And so this is going to take place next Sunday, December 6th, 2015, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and that's going to be at the Park North Shopping Center. And Howie, you mentioned before, just to give a quick rundown, what kind of items are y'all looking for?
Anything that you would use to get ready for work, at home, before you go to bed, pajamas, toothbrush, toothpaste. Sounds like a song, I think. Any of those items, and new and used clothing, any size, any shape, almost any condition. If you would wear it, bring it. I'll find somebody to wear it that's staying at one of the shelters. And the other thing that we always ask people to bring is our non-perishable food items. The food bank feeds tens of thousands of people a week. It's incredible that you haven't seen what the San Antonio Food Bank does. I mean, all of these charities do some amazing work here in San Antonio, and unfortunately, there's such a huge need. It seems like it never ends. So that's why 19 years later, I'm kind of still at it, doing my part. And having friends and family and local generous San Antonians just come and donate to these charities.
Well, I mean, two of the charities, Haven for Hope and the Batter's Women's Shelter, I mean, those, they're constantly having an influx of people coming and going. And quite frankly, a lot of times people don't realize they're going to be in that situation. Like you said, I think previously, at the Battered Women's Shelter, sometimes they leave with just the clothes on their back with their children in tow, seeking shelter, and they don't have any resources. They don't have any clothes. We talked about San Antonio. The temperature can one day be 80 degrees. The next day it's been 40 this weekend, and suddenly you're out there with shorts because you left on Wednesday, and now you don't have any clothes, and you've got your kids, you're trying to take them to school and kind of keep their life as normal as possible. And so definitely, if you have any clothes and stuff, I would definitely encourage y'all to take your items next week. And Howie, you're going to stay around. We're going to talk a little bit more in the next segment with you. And we're going to go ahead and, David, and continue on with our top 10. Today we're talking about testamentary trust, and we're talking about wills. And if you out there have any kind of question, maybe you have a question for me, a legal question, or maybe you have a question for Howie, you can certainly give us a call. We're live in the studio. It's 308-8867. That's 308-8867. Feel free to give us a call. David, I think we left off on question number 6. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We're on number 6. So number 6 is, what is the probate court's role in a testamentary trust?
Well, I mean, it's a little bit different than a regular trust. In a regular trust, you don't have the probate court involved. But since you have a will, and since when the will and the trust become activated, so to speak, for lack of a better term, after you pass away, the probate court is really going to have their hand in it. Now, that's a plus and a minus. It's good in the fact that they will kind of have a separate pair of eyes looking over the trust, making sure that the trustee is doing what they're supposed to. But it does sometimes cost a little bit more, and it can add a little bit of cost to it. But the alternative really is much worse. I mean, as we talked about before, if you have life insurance proceeds and you're thinking, well, I'll leave them to my parents, I'll leave them to my brother or my sister, then you have absolutely no control over those funds. So, in these types of situations, when you have assets and you have children, or you have disabled children, or you have, and you don't really have the control, or maybe the people in place, it's really important to make sure you have a testamentary trust.
Okay, well, and let's go on to number 7. This is, who can you elect to serve as the trustee of a testamentary trust?
Well, I mean, it's going to be anybody you trust. I mean, for lack of I guess for a punt there, it's anybody that you really can trust, that you want to run the trust. And so typically, most often, it's usually the same person that you would end up giving that life insurance policy to, that you would end up turning over that house to be sold in your will, your executor. So it's probably going to be a family member. But you can, if you have funds, you can elect a bank. You can do a lot of things of that nature. You just have to be careful when you start doing that. We kind of talk through the process. When I have people sit down with me and we start talking about testamentary trust, and we start going through how that may be a good fit for them or not, we talk about, well, who do you want to be in control of these funds? Just because the probate court's involved, just because they do have to follow and they have a fiduciary duty, you don't want to give these to somebody who's not trustworthy, because they can get rid of the funds. And once they get rid of the funds, even though they may be held accountable, they may not have any money to get money from.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And as far as this trustee, I mean, you could name an alternate trustee or something in the event that the trustee can't serve. Maybe they pass away or something in the time, before you or something, and they're not able to serve. You have an alternate. But James, I mean, if someone wants to create a testamentary trust, should they talk to the trustee first and let them know what their plans are?
Well, of course, I think everybody should first of all, if you have a will, you should let people know where that will is at, because it's nothing worse than somebody passing away. First of all, everybody's grieving over that loss, and now they can't find any of the legal documents. So I always tell people, be right up front. Show if you're giving things to certain people, let those people know. It creates a lot of, it's transparency in a sense, and it just basically you avoid a lot of fighting at the end when people really should be grieving and mourning your loss. Instead they're fighting over assets.
That's exactly right, James. And so if you have any questions regarding a testamentary trust, you can call us at 210-308-8867. That is 210-308-8867. You're listening to Law Talk SA on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Call us and we'll answer your question live on the air.
And how many more questions do we have to go through on the top 10, David?
We're on number 8 right now. You want to go ahead and get into number 8?
Yeah, no, let's not get in number 8. But when we come back, we're going to finish up the last 3 questions. We got Howie Nestle, who's going over Gotcha Covered, which is our 2015 drive for basically covering 3 people, which is the Haven for Hope, Battered Women's Shelter, Food Bank. He's going to be talking to you. So if you hold on, come back. We're going to go over that and make yourself feel a little bit better helping other people.
Count on the law offices of Bynum & Gillen with one of their experienced family lawyers to guide you through the maze of paperwork, court hearings, and negotiations involved in resolving these matters. Schedule an appointment with them for a free consultation by calling them at 210-541-6800. The attorneys at Bynum & Gillen understand how difficult divorce issues are for you, and they are here to provide you with wise legal counsel. Whether you're considering a divorce, negotiating child support and custody, or facing criminal charges, their attorneys work to protect your rights. Request a free initial consultation for information and advice on how to proceed with your legal concern. Bynum & Gillen handles a wide variety of family law cases, including divorce, custody, child support collection, enforcement and modification of child support, and visitation. Call Bynum & Gillen to make an appointment for a free consultation. 210-541-6800. 210-541-6800. The law offices of Bynum & Gillen.
Black mustache, red Cadillac. Now he's got you and I've got 2 divorce lawyers on my back. Single again.
Welcome back. This is Law Talk SA. I'm James Gillen. I'm in the studio with my associate David Rodriguez, and we've been talking today a little bit about testamentary trust. We're going to finish up our top 10, but we also have a special guest in the studio, Howie Nestle. He's talking about Gotcha Covered, which is the 19th year, right, Howie?
19 years of collecting donations for local charities like Haven for Hope, San Antonio Food Bank, and Battered Women and Children's Shelter.
And your collection is going to take place next Sunday, right?
Sunday the 6th at Park North Shopping Center at the corner of Blanco and Loop 410, kind of right behind the Frost Bank and the Earth Burger. We'll be unloading donations from people's cars from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
And you basically need, and we've gone over a lot of stuff that, and basically anything that really anybody can wear, they can use to get up in the morning time, if it's a canned good that they can eat. Anything that you may think that somebody can use or that you use daily in your life, bring it, because you'll find somebody to use it.
Yeah, correct. But you know what? Let me tell you what not to bring, because over the years we've developed a do not bring list. Okay. So no broken lamps, no half cans of paint, no ladders that are missing rungs. Those are the things we don't need. But what do we need? We need blankets, coats, clothing, shoes, diapers, baby wipes are always important. Formula. My sister's a dietitian, and so she knows the importance of bringing formula. There are a lot of babies that are staying at Family Violence Prevention Services and at Haven for Hope.
Diapers are
diapers.
Really needed.
Yeah, very
so if you got any diapers that you didn't use or you got the wrong size and you don't know what to do with them, bring them next Sunday, and you'll find somebody to use them.
Absolutely.
But definitely don't bring anything. I guess the don't bring list is anything like household furniture. We're not taking household furniture that day.
No lawnmowers with 3 wheels.
We're taking things that people can use, and when we say use, they can wear them, or they're toiletries, or they can eat it, and it's canned good. That's what we're looking for it. And where are they going to be able to take this stuff to?
Park North Shopping Center. Used to be the old Central Park Mall. It's at the corner of Blanco and Loop 410. There's a big Super Target there, but we're going to be up a little bit closer to Loop 410. So we'll be right behind the Frost Bank, behind Jim's Coffee Shop, behind Aloft Hotel, right by Earth Burger, right there.
Oh, fantastic. And that's going to be going from 9 to 3 on December 6th. So anybody, if you got something out there, it's that time of year where basically you bring that over. They're going to have, if you want a tax deduction, you can actually bring your items there. They'll give you a tax deduction receipt. So it's really, as we say, a win-win situation for everybody. And it's really benefiting people that need it. And they're going to get it the next day and start using it. So this is something you can really feel good about yourself doing, knowing that you're helping a family out that may need this stuff that otherwise they couldn't get it. And if we're fortunate enough to have stuff that we can give to somebody, you should do that. Take that opportunity.
I'll give you a little statistic. A few years ago, I worked on a project with Battered Women and Children's Shelter, Family Violence Prevention Services, and I had no idea how many people they serve, but in a several county area, 3 years ago, they served right around 21,000 people. 1/3 of them were women, and 2/3 of them were children.
Wow, that's a lot of people. So, I encourage any of our listeners out there to basically participate in this. And if you need more information or like more information, you can go to a website that Howie has for this. It's called gotchacovered.org, and that's GOTCHACOVERED.org.
Correct.
And we're going to also put a link on our website, which is lawtalksa.com, or our regular website, which is bynumgillen.com. So feel free to look at that and go in there and link on this and get more information, because it's really a worthy benefit for people that really need it.
Right.
So we got 3 things left to go over, David, for our top 10. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. And we've been talking today about a component of wills, which a lot of people don't really take advantage of. I try to encourage most of my clients that have gone through a divorce or a child custody issue, that may have young children or may have children with disabilities, really to take advantage of this area, or maybe they have grandchildren and they want to make sure their grandchildren are taken care of. We left off, I think it was on number 8. What was?
We're on number 8, James, and this is a question we get a lot, and this is from people who are thinking about creating a trust. They want to know if the trustee has to follow the terms of the testamentary trust.
Well, yes, they have to follow it. And going back to one of our questions earlier, we talked about how the probate court's involved. That's one of the benefits of having the probate court involved, because really they're going to be kind of like a micromanager a little bit over the trust to make sure that you are following the terms of the trust. So the answer to that is yes. But now, if you have a dishonest trustee, people are very crafty and they can get away with stuff, and sometimes they can. So, obviously, whoever you choose, you want to make sure you're choosing somebody that you can trust, that's trustworthy, because if they're, what's the saying? If you're not cheating, you're not trying. So.
Well, I hope not. So. We're kind of out of time, so let's go to number 9. It's when should someone consider having a testamentary trust? And we kind of went over this throughout our top 10 list.
Yeah, and basically it's really, if you have assets and you want to make sure that those assets get to that individual, maybe you're in a second marriage and you want to make sure that your kids from your first marriage get certain items. That's really what's about putting a trust. Maybe you have grandchildren, maybe you have a child with a disability, maybe you're suddenly divorced and now you don't have a spouse to leave that insurance policy to you, and you want to make sure that money goes to your children and you have control over it.
Okay, James. And so number 10, this is a question that anyone would want to know is, does it cost more to include a testamentary trust when you're getting your will drafted?
No, and now I don't know, I can't speak for every attorney in San Antonio, but I can speak for us at Bynum & Gillen. And one of the things that we do is we kind of, when we sit down with you and we're going to figure out whether you need a will, as far as what you need to put in your will and the terms that you need, that's when we kind of figure out, hey, look, do you need a testamentary trust? Is this going to be a benefit for you? And if you need it, it's just part of the will process. It's not any more or less than what the will cost. So it is something that we always talk about. We always talk about it with our clients, and we go through the process to see whether they need it or not. Because quite frankly, they may need a different type of trust, which is actually created today. Maybe they're trying to do different things. This is not a mechanism that you'd use to protect your assets. This is something that happens, and it doesn't get formed until after you pass away. So you're not putting any assets in this while you're living.
So if you have any questions regarding a testamentary trust, or it's been a while since you updated your will, or maybe you want to consider adding one to your will, you can give us a call at 210-541-6800. That's our office. It's 210-541-6800, and we'll set up a time for you to come in, and we'll meet with you for free.
Absolutely, and go over it. And really, a will is like anything else. You need to, from time to time, you need to go back and look at it, make sure that it's covering everything you want. When you set up that will, maybe your children were very young. Maybe now your children are a little bit older. Maybe you didn't have any children when you had that will set up. Maybe you didn't have any grandchildren when you had that will set up. Life goes on and life changes, so you really need to look at the terms of your will. You need to make sure you can find where it's at. That's usually the first thing that most people have. Well, I don't know where that will went to, and so it's definitely give us a call and talk to us about that. And today we were really pleased to have Howie Nestle, and he's got this great collection drive going next week. It's got you covered. It's been going on for 19 years. Howie, we're glad you came in today.
Oh, no, this was fun, and I'm glad you gave me the opportunity to get the word about this important drive.
Oh, absolutely. And, if you want to go to our website at lawtalksa.com, you can go there. We'll have a link set up on ours that you can go and get more information about this, but it's been going on for 19 years. And that's really incredible, Howie.
Yeah, a lot of good has come from it, not only for the recipient agencies like Haven for Hope and Battered Women's Shelter and the Food Bank, but about 15 years ago or so, that's where I met my wife. She was working for Telemundo. She was a reporter, and she came to interview this crazy guy named Howie who was sleeping in a cardboard box to draw attention to the homeless issue. And next thing you know, we've been now married for 10 years, or as she likes to say, happily for 2, and we have 3 kids.
And Howie, this website, is it pretty much left up all year long? So you can...
It is. It's left up all year long. It's gotchacovered.org, GOTCHA, covered, COVERED.org. And as soon as we're done with this year's event, we'll start putting up information for the 20th annual. And we hope we can count on Law Talk SA and Bynum & Gillen Law Firm as supporters for the 20th annual next year.
Absolutely. And just in case our listeners, maybe they can't get over there next week, or maybe they want to, do y'all ever accept monetary donations?
I always say yes, but I'd like the monetary donations to be made directly to the participating or recipient agencies.
Okay. So if you want to give money, go to Haven for Hope, or go to the Food Bank, or go to
Family Violence Prevention Services. Look them all up, and they all have ways of donating directly online to them.
Fantastic. And again, you're going to be doing this next week. It's from 9 to 3, December 6th, and it's going to be at the
Park North Shopping Center at the corner of Blanco and Loop 410, kind of behind the Frost Bank, behind Jim's, behind the Aloft Hotel. And you don't even have to unload the donations. We'll take them right out of your car, bring you a receipt to your window if you'd like one, and you're on your merry way.
Well, you can't beat that. You can get a tax deduction. You just throw it in the car and say, hey, y'all will pick it up, take it out, and and if you're going to do something this week, maybe you're going to clean out that closet, get rid of some clothes. This is definitely a worthwhile organization, and these people are going to get this the next day. Correct. And be using it.
We'll actually go and unload that afternoon and evening. So I get residents from Haven for Hope to help me unload, and we put it all in their warehouse, and it's ready for distribution on Monday morning.
Wow.
Well, that's the best part. I mean, you know where the stuff's going. You know where it's being donated to when you go drop it off.
That's right. I mean, and sometimes, when you give to other organizations, not that there's fantastic organizations all over San Antonio, you don't know. You don't know if they're going to resell some stuff. You don't know if they're going to use it. This way, you know that it's going to go to somebody who needs it, and they can utilize that. So it was very nice having you today, Howie. Hopefully we got the word out a little bit more for you today.
Yeah, David, James, thank you guys.
Well, thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you. This is Law Talk SA. Now, if you do have any questions and you want to talk to us this week, you can call our office. We're located in the Medical Center at 8632 Fredericksburg Drive. We're in Suite 208 in the Galaxy Plaza building. And you can give us a call at 541-6800. That's 541-6800. We give free consultations. David, you're going to be busy next week?
Oh, yeah.
Always, right?
Always.
All right. Well, I can't believe another hour's gone. We're here every Sunday from 5 to 6. If you have any questions, save them till next week. We'll be back. And if you don't call us and you can't, what do we do until next week, David? Well, I'll tell you what you do, David. You obey the law or you give us a call.
And Gillen Law Firm, a better solution starts here.